The bull run is a time when money is so easily made it's kind of laughable. That is, on paper. You, unfortunately, are likely going to be part of the statistic, the 98% that loses money in crypto. Now, a small slither of that makes around $500 or so. And yes, that includes people who have invested millions of dollars. It is such a small fraction that changes their lives, and that's how honestly it is designed to be. Not everyone can win at this game, that you, yes, you are likely to screw it up. Just like I did in the last bull run. I had over $100,000 life-changing money for a 21-year-old with big dreams and aspirations, buying a couple different properties and so on. Unfortunately, though, I would have loved to watch a video like this, which there was none of back then, on 3 things you should avoid at all costs. Now, I know likely some of you are probably watching this video thinking to yourselves, this is another crypto YouTube video. I'm going to take this with a grain of salt and leave it at that. I'm going to probably forget about this in the next half an hour. I know, because I am the same. I used to be like that at least anyway. I want you to really absorb this, guys, and I truly do mean that. I'm not making this video because I like talking about my hard losses. I'm not doing this video because it's just an extra little bit of content. I'm really trying to help you here, and I need you to listen up. Look, I thought I had it all under control. I had 4 years of banking knowledge up my belt at the time when the bull run happened. I had been researching and reading all about the stock market, and also the real estate market was really my true passion, and still honestly is, and I knew a lot about finance. Unfortunately, though, even with all that, I could never have understood how crypto works. Crypto does not work anything like any of the other markets, for sure. Not even the stock market, okay? You have to understand how this beast functions, and in today's video, I will hopefully try to educate you in some way, shape, or form. Now, before we get into it, guys, do not forget, for the PTSD trauma I'm having to go through revisiting this video, hit that like button, and I want you to subscribe while you're down there, not for my benefit, but for yours. Let's begin. The first one here, while it might be a very quick point, I do want to make sure you do not ignore it. People in crypto have a philosophy of hodling. Hodling seems to be the buzzword everyone draws to, and honestly, I have a hodl shirt myself. It's all fun, it's all a part of the crypto game, but mark my words, do not hold anything for eternity. I don't care if it's a Bitcoin or what. Maybe you want to hold some of your Bitcoin, all right, for your long-term holdings. That's okay. I understand that situation. Maybe even Ethereum could be argued the same point, but you shouldn't be arguing this point if you haven't done your research and you're just following the leader. You're following the next person that said this. Maybe Michael Saylor has gotten into your head, but mark my words, guys. This might be a long-term hold. There's fundamental flaws with Bitcoin I could talk about that maybe not make it a long-term 100-year plus asset. Not saying they're going to come true. I like to poke holes in everything I invest in because that's how every investor should do things. But what I'm saying is mathematically, it actually works out far better for you to sell your assets, non-financial advice. Go ahead and talk to your financial advisor about this, by the way, in 2025 or at the top of the bull run. Make a substantial amount of money, 2, 3, 5, 10x or more, and then actually look to reinvest that back into some sort of asset class in the next bear market. Now, that might be crypto, that might be real estate, that might be your friend's cool new project he's working on, whatever. But you're much better off compounding your gains, as we'll see here in a second, than trying to hold for eternity. That's okay, I think, only for Bitcoin and savings. Never consider this for altcoins. If you're someone who unfortunately has locked up your tokens for more than a year at this current point in time here, where I'm recording this on the 10th of September 2024, even in 12 months, honestly, you are playing a risky game still. But nevertheless, 2 years plus is ridiculous. If you're staking some of your assets for 5-6 years, you better hope that this coin has a stellar bull run and it doesn't lose favor in the next bear market when prices come crumbling down. That's all I have to say here. Don't hodl, and if you do, know what you're doing, have a game plan. Now look, I thought hodling was the best thing out, right? This is the coin that I lost a lot of money on myself. I kind of was making so much, I kept piling on the cash, right? I was pretty much gaining like 3, 4, 5, 6 grand a day some days, and I was just piling extra money on. Veracity, still a decent coin if you ask me, okay? But what happened was I invested basically down here, and it went up, and up and up. And me and my friend, you remember grabbing each other going, oh my God, we're going to be rich. This is it. We were laughing. We were so thrilled with ourselves. And then it dipped and we obviously panicked because that's what you do when you don't know what you're investing in. And then it started going up and up and up and up. And then guess what? We were told Bitcoin going to 100K. Hodl, guys. Hodl, hodl, hodl. And then it all came crashing down. And guess what? I still hold a majority of these tokens. I did sell a fair few of them, but at a substantial loss, less than I put in. I lost money on this, basically all of it. Okay, so please understand that you're much better off selling it all. Now, you don't want to be unrealistic with your sell targets. This is point number 2, okay? I see this time and time again, especially in the private community. I've got the bull run cheat sheet full of price predictions over 100 altcoins, and it keeps growing, right? I've got predictions based entirely on a formula built on data, and I have my own predictions, subjective, non-financial advice predictions as well. And oftentimes they kind of fall somewhere in between, right? But people oftentimes, whether it's in the private community or whether it's on YouTube here with some of my altcoin calls, they look, and other people channels as well, at these price predictions and go straight for those price predictions, guys. You can't do that, right? Because if you go for the price prediction always, you end up, and you will end up, finding yourself stuck in what I'm calling the red zone or even the gray zone, where essentially, you guys have probably seen this a billion times by now, I apologize. It's in a liquid market, it's sellers versus sellers. You are trying to sell, but you can't sell because no one's buying, and therefore price comes crumbling down. Look something like this. While there's bounces and then it comes back down again on the chart, depending on the exchange you're using or the DEX, you are very much so unlikely to get out at the price you intend to. You set the sell order and you just keep panicking, right? Especially with the market order. If you hit a market order or a swap on a DEX, you're going to get screwed. Honestly, the slippage on those things are insane at those points in time because everyone's trying to get out at the same time. So it begs the question, right? You can't be unrealistic. Sell within what I call the green zone, okay? This is at the very max, 35% down from whatever price prediction anyone's sort of shilling you. Now, no one's an oracle. No one knows for certain. Even data is unreliable because we've really only had one bull run for some of these coins, if that. So we can only use basic judgment, basic understanding of what's fundamentally happening now and gauge it. So the best thing you can do is be conservative. Be conservative. Do not look to try to time the top. I'll guarantee you right now, you're going to get yourself wrecked. This doesn't mean you have to be uber pessimistic to the point where you're selling some of these altcoins at a 2x from today's prices. Maybe that's fits your risk category, sure. But I don't think you have to be that risky. Of course, just pull down from these price predictions. Gauge the general sentiment of these price predictions. Do your best at understanding how people come to these numbers. If people do not tell you, I've come to a price prediction of $1.50 for HBAR because of X, Y, and Z, and instead they look at the chart and they say, well, HBAR went to 55 cents before. Yeah, this coin's pretty good. I must admit, guys, the coin's pretty good. And that's all they tell you. I'm sorry, but that's not a reliable price prediction. First of all, no price predictions are, but you can't use that. I'm sorry, you can't look at that and go, he's made a good point. So all I'm saying is be careful who you're getting these from and don't be overzealous. And if you just understand in the same respect as well, this could be a whole point by itself, that, guys, we put so much pressure on ourselves to make life-changing wealth this bull run. I know a lot of you are. A lot of you are looking for a 30x and you joined the market only recently, or you're looking for 100x because you need it. So you find the micro caps, you're playing the meme coin game, you're following only meme coin influencers, and you're looking for these absolute shit coins, and likely you're already realizing this is almost a game of luck. It's almost impossible to be able to tell, and the amount of stress you go through, honestly, it's not worth it for you, your partner, your family. It can be draining, and it is draining. So what I want you to understand is, fundamentally speaking, you should look to multi-cycle compound, guys. Like I say, have a 6-year outlook, okay? Look to maybe buy now and make a 5 or a 10x this bull run. And don't cash that money out into anything else. Have that money in cash over here. So when 2026 to 2028 comes around, you can buy back with that cash. You have 10 times more, maybe 5 times more than you had before. And then you can use that to throw back into crypto and then look to, if you time the bottom at least half decently, at least 20x. In my opinion, you should be looking for a 30x at this point in the time. So really, you're actually 300x. And if you're 10x now and 30x later on, that's a 300x, guys, overall. Okay, this is huge money. To put it this way, I'm only looking to reinvest 250k Australian dollars back into crypto in the next bear market. That's nothing. But yet I'm looking to minimum 30x that money. It comes to over like $7 million. It's huge amounts of money, okay? So all I'm trying to say is have that, multi-cycle outlook. That'll really save you a lot of stress. And honestly, if I had listened to this back in the last cycle, I would have got out of that coin I just showed you. I would have gotten out of Veracity well and truly down here, all right? I wouldn't have needed to look for that major pump and risk it all because, I don't know, I felt good about making money, I guess. And lastly, guys, big one here. Please exit when the coins have their narrative pump. What's their narrative pump? Well, to show you on a chart here, this is Bitcoin in orange overlaid with Cardano in blue. As you can see from the last cycle, and I use this all the time because this is like a perfect example of this. We have, forget this for a second, we have the largest pump a coin will have with the narrative, with all the hype around a particular sector of crypto coins. In this case, it was layer 1 altcoins. All layer 1 altcoins were going off because what happened is there's some news. Everyone starts talking about these coins. Likely the whales start pumping out article after article. They can just pay for these things like, chugging Tic Tacs basically. And then ends up getting a big hype and buzz, and then everyone starts coming in. That's what these whales love to do because then they get out of their position. So they artificially pump all the altcoins they want to get out of, and they do it all at once. It's very simple, okay? There's no big one kumbaya moment. The difference between ADA's all-time high and Bitcoin's all-time high over here was a matter of like a few months. So if you had waited for Bitcoin to sell everything all at once, you would have been pretty upset, likely thought, well, hang on, ADA's got more to go because, hang on, a little small pump over here, surely there's more, and you would have held, and then you would have pretty much never sold your ADA, okay, because of that, because you wanted to sell all with Bitcoin. Look towards the narratives, join the private community, the vault down below, guys. It doesn't matter what level you're in. I'm going to be calling this as they come, as the bull run begins heating up again, particularly in level 2, where I do daily vlogs, essentially. We also have a secondary smaller pump here. Most of these altcoins have. It's temporary pumps, and this is what's called popularity. This is a side note. This isn't a part of the third point here, but it's news and announcements, right? And these news and announcements can either be a temporary push the coin up like we see with Cardano here, and send it back down again because immediate attention is grabbed, or the announcement itself might actually be adding to the value of the coin, so much so that when the coin does have a narrative pump, the big pump with all the other AI or layer 1 altcoins, it's got a unique aspect about it now because of the upgrade. It'll pump much harder. So in effect, always look for the narrative pump, guys. And if your coin has expired the narrative pump, in the example of AVAX and Solana here, if it's expired this massive pump and you're like, oh gosh, like all these layer 1 or whatever coins pumped at this sort of same time over here, it's now a few months after. Hang on, in retrospect, it's too late, too little too late. Well, of course, you might look to, unfortunately, claim your losses. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. That's why I say join a community like ours down below, because we'll be calling this in real time. What are the chances it happens again, and so on and so forth. But you can see here the importance behind timing this, because these things move down sharply. And if you miss the narrative pump, it can be the difference between you making 77x on Solana and maybe selling out down here at a 25x. Now, I get it, right? Oh, boo-hoo. Yeah, but 50x is huge. So with all that being said, guys, I hope you have enjoyed. These are my 3 biggest mistakes I made in the last cycle, all right? Now, narratives fundamentally, this whole model here wasn't really established in the last cycle. It happened. We've seen it retrospectively. We can look back and go, oh, yeah, that's what's happened now. I've been talking about this for over 12 months, almost 18, probably more months about this, preaching to you guys. Narratives are the way to go. I think more people are catching on and talking about this sort of stuff now. I'm not saying I'm a god. I'm not saying I'm a genius. I'm just saying that people are catching on to it, so you better start too. Because the more people that start learning about this, the more they're gonna happen. That'll be all, guys. Take good care of yourselves. I really hope you have the best bull run possible, and I wish we could all make money. Knuckle down, 18 months. Let's get it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.